How are you? How are you? Very well, thanks.
Guys, okay, I will ping a link to the Notion agenda. We're switching over to Notion now, so you'll see all of our new notes captured there and a link to where all of our previous comms call notes and resources in the Google Drive. There's a link at the top and also in our comms circle link in Notion. Okay, so welcome to today's communications call. It's Friday, June 4th, and I'm just going to get us started off with some centering. So I invite you to start to tune inwards, and maybe you want to close your eyes. Maybe you just want to soften your gaze, or if you have a nice view, just kind of like pick a particular point or something to focus on and not look around too much. And I invite you to deepen and slow your breathing. You can do some box breathing in through the nose, slowly holding it at the top. And then a slow exhale through the mouth and hold at the bottom. Do that a few rounds. Breathing in through the nose, holding at the top, out through the mouth, and holding at the bottom. And as you're focusing on your breathing, finding stillness within yourself, I'd like to share today's guidance. Quote by Peter Marshall. Give to us clear vision that we may know where to stand and what to stand for, because unless we stand for something, we shall fall for anything. Give to us clear vision that we may know where to stand and what to stand for, because unless we stand for something, we shall fall for anything. One more deep breath in and out, breathing into that. Something to ponder on for today as we're visioning with Giveth. Okay, so tuning back into your body. Maybe you want to find some movement, wiggling your fingers and toes, or moving your shoulders around. Maybe giving your head a few rotations around your neck in both directions. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes, look around your space, and bring yourself back in to the space, the environment that you're in. And then we can connect with one another, looking at the other folks that are here in this virtual space with you right now. And with that, we can do our check-ins. Yeah, just anything that feels alive that you'd like to share. Could be, how you're feeling, or personally how your day's going. Could be, updates or additional agenda requests besides what we've already posted in the comms channel. And if you have any distractions or something you want to name to help you be more present, I welcome that also. I can get us started. So I'm feeling really grounded after that check-in, and I'm also feeling super relieved. I have honeymooners checking in to my Airbnb this evening, and the power and the water went out last night, and we're out all day, and I was super nervous about like how the hell I was gonna clean dishes. I was like gathering rainwater in pots and pans earlier, and it just came back on an hour ago, so we're all good. Crisis averted. And yeah, just excited to sync with everyone today. I feel like we have a really organized agenda because I made it a few days in advance, and we got some contributions from the team. So excited about that. And I don't have any distractions. I will pass it to Lauren.
Hey everyone, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling tired today, but also good. I've been like getting things done in the house, and then also my computer just last a little bit. I'm not feeling distracted. I'm excited about the comms call. I really like this call. I feel like it's just such a good team. So we always work really well together, and I feel like we have really productive weeks. So I'm excited to sync with everybody. And I'll pass it to Wonka.
Thanks, Lauren. I think I also feel a little bit tired. I think that I have been working a lot for months without stop, and I look forward that I am going to take a break in 2 weeks. So I am happy about that. But I am super motivated about all that I am seeing and all the progress that I see in different communities in the different communities I participate, and I love like the vibe that we have. And I don't have any distraction. I want to collaborate to see how can I help in this meeting. And yeah, I will pass to Mitch.
I'm doing good. I'm distracted today because I'm starting to pack up my stuff because I have to move at the end of the month. So, yeah. Apart from that, I'm also distracted because now I'm going back into the edits that Lauren made on my documentation. I'm like, what? I'm so confused by some things. Anyway, intentions for this call: find out what's left on the wiki migration. What can we start on? What can we not start on? And mission, vision, values. Anything with that. And Ashley is left, I think.
Hi guys. I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm slightly distracted because I have people coming over later, so I've been like kind of in between working, kind of just like cleaning and then coming back and working. So that's really my only distraction though. Other than that, I put a couple of agenda points in the notes, but I think we had already talked about some of them in the comms call or in the comms channel. And yeah, so I'm just looking forward to touching base on all these different things. I think there's a lot on our agenda for today. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So back to you, Bryce.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Nice check-in. Ashley, the things that you added, did you add them? Okay, I see them. I see them at the bottom. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll try to get to everything today. Okay, well, Mitch, you named it, mission, vision, values. I have a couple questions for us. Let me just share my screen. That might be the easiest. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Cool. And here we go. So yeah, I think it's most effective when we have like workshop meetings, or like we did the special meme Olympics, if we have at least just a little bit of time for like debrief afterwards. So yeah, talking about the meme Olympics and all the awesome memes that were generated from the team participating, I'm curious if anyone, like I went through and kind of took a look at some of the themes and was like thumbs upping the ones that looked good. But do we have any like key takeaways from this session, or ideas of how we want to integrate these, and like how we want to share them with the world?
Yeah, I have some ideas. Well, I noticed I think a bunch of people also added to the mission, vision, values doc that we had, and then we all reviewed and stuff. And then so like there were more comments in it, but there was like nothing definitive. So I started sort of like hacking at it a little more, and then like in the meme Olympics, I think we got a lot of really good content out from people just with like different ideas, but are like not fully aligned. But I also noticed that in Willie's, like Willie posted today about the Vision Quest Part 2, and he kind of like also asked everybody if they could, I guess, like review the board of like the overall roadmappy vision thing that we were doing in the Vision Quest Part 1 thing, and come up with like a one line vision statement thing. So I think like through this iterative process that we're doing with Willie, like aligning around the roadmap, we might be able to get a little bit more clear the mission and the vision. I mean, because yeah, I don't think the doc is, it's not like fully complete. Like we're not totally aligned. Even like there's some questions about like whether or not we still want to call ourselves unicorns. Like it was highlighted in the doc while Mitch was like, I don't like this. But then Marco was like, also, well, why don't we just call ourselves givers? And then that kind of brought up the question of like, do we still want to call ourselves unicorns? But like still nothing definitive around it. I also think that the way that we had originally written the mission, vision, values was nice, but maybe, I don't know, sometimes like some other people, I don't know even who, but somebody suggested in the mission, vision, values doc that we have like a short-term mission or vision and a long-term one. Yeah, short-term mission and a long-term mission. I get a little confused about mission and vision. Marco put some comments. He said, the vision is articulating what success will look like in 5 or 10 years, and the mission is a statement that clarifies why we exist. So I guess like vision is more like the actionable one that we're creating, and then the mission is kind of like why we came about. So anyway, I think that it still needs a little bit more hacking. I think that one way we can collectively do this is through the roadmappy thing with Willie. And then regarding all the awesome, cool memes, I already started tweeting about them. And Mitch like also created a nice tweet content thing that he added to the board. So I'm going to highlight parts of like our MVV throughout our Twitter. Yeah, but those are my thoughts on that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really comprehensive. Thanks, Lauren. And yeah, I agree. I think it's really important that everyone from the comms team is participating in these like vision workshops, and also the ones that Marco will ultimately facilitate as well. I think it's just really, I mean, I learned something. I loved the way that the activity that Willie guided us through. I thought that was a really cool way to go about it, and something I would like to use with other projects in the future. So it sounds like, Lauren, you already began tweeting with some of the memes, and then I recall you mentioning Mitch's name. Where have you been incorporating those, Mitch?
Oh,
I think she was just talking about like me writing in tweets.
yeah. Mitch
In the
added to
Twitter
my
planning.
Twitter doc, which was super nice. He added one about the MVP that I really liked. So I haven't tweeted it yet, but I will.
Damn.
I love when people
Sorry.
do that, by the way. More people should do that. Mitch goes in there and he adds tweets, and sometimes in the morning I'm like, oh no, what am I going to tweet? And there's just a nice one laid up by Mitch. And I'm like, oh, Mitch!
Send it.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it sounds like, and I agree, we just need to kind of keep going through that process, and we'll continue to get clearer and clearer. I have a feeling in this part 2 section we'll kind of narrow it down, rather than having like so many different things that we're focusing on, or find like the big umbrella ideas. Okay. And yeah, the short term and long term, I think that was something that Griff had pushed us on in our last comms call. I think it's good to think about that as well. Do we feel that there are, like, would we say the blockers are just finishing the full team process of the Vision Quest and participating in Marco's facilitated sessions. Any other blockers that we have to the MVV, and like, how do we, when we do have it, do we want to, I imagine we'll like update that on our website and maybe promote on social media, or maybe we even want to do like a cool article, like, I mean, we could even share, like, we're so transparent, we record all of our meetings. It could even be cool to like show, like, talk about like the process that we went through as a team, you know?
Yeah. I love that idea for us. That's so great. I think, oh wait, you froze. Are you still talking?
I
You
mean,
didn't froze.
I wanted to just say that I think that's such a good idea, and it would be super cool to do that. Like, we could create a Medium blog post with like our kind of like updated, either summarized or as it is, like MVV stuff, and then like a little bit about the process of sort of like giving it a makeover. Because it's nice. I really, really enjoyed what Willie had done with the Vision Quest thing. That was cool. And I feel like it's just going to be more cool.
yeah, totally. And so many people have either like hobbies or projects they work on the side, or maybe they have something that they're bringing to life. And it's just cool to hear about like, how do other people go through this and get clear, you know, whether that it's your personal life manifesting things, or it's like you're an entrepreneur or part of a team and you're bringing a project to life. I think it's kind of cool. And then it also contributes to like the personality that we've been sharing more and more, personable kind of stuff with Giveth. So I like that. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to share around mission, vision, values before we go to our next agenda point? Okay. So I just wanted to mention, I put this point, quarterly milestone planning. So I had an awesome, I asked Monique to have a one-on-one with me, and I picked his brain because he's been doing project management, like specifically more for developers and tech stuff for quite some time. And I was just curious about his process and how he works. And I got a lot of different ideas from him. And I think we had talked about this in the past, but this is something I really want to put into play here. I would love to guide us through creating like really clear targets and goals as a communication circle, and deciding what those are on a quarterly basis so that we have something to look beyond just like the next few days or weeks, but looking like farther into the future. And I think it will help keep us like steering in a certain direction. And so I am proposing to start those discussions like in a week or two. I guess it depends on if we're all in Nosara, like we could maybe do some of that in person, and then to join us, or we can do it like start doing it next on our next call. But yeah, like the next quarter would be July, August, September. And so we can kind of decide and get clear on our vision and our mission and our goals for that quarter now. And then my job will be to help keep us on track and aligned. And it's, you know, really more for giving us structure and organization and like something to like steer towards. It's not like if we don't achieve the things that we set out to, that we're like in trouble, or, you know, it's there's no like repercussions. It's more just helping to guide us. Does anyone have any questions or ideas or objections?
I think it sounds like a good idea. I'm curious, are our quarters going to then be aligned with the other projects, or are they just like based off of the next month coming up? So like, do the dev teams also have quarters that we could like align our quarters with? The Give token quarters, do they also have that? I mean, do you understand? Does that make sense?
So quarter is just breaking up the year. So it's like in 3-month segments, and then a smaller than a quarter is where we'll have our sprints. So we'll be running, like we could, if we wanted to, align with how the developers do things and how we do things in the Give token. Like we could decide as a team, we want to start doing sprints and have like this goal as a team that we accomplish in the next 2 weeks. And we could run like 2-week iterations of that. And then the grander scheme is having like these bigger quarterly goals that we're working towards. Monic, his teams, which is the Giveth Trace team, and it looks like he's going to be supporting the Giveth.io team more. He is guiding those teams through like having quarterly goals with the developers, that each team member has goals, and then like as a team they have goals, and they're getting really clear on not just throwing things out, but like why, and do we feel we can accomplish this, and is this like is this valuable and important use of our time and resources? So they are also doing that. And I think that this is beneficial for Give token as well, at least until launch. And, you know, ComCircle is kind of unique because like, we're not just one project. We're helping to support the many different projects at Giveth. So I think inevitably some of our goals very likely will have to do with the different projects and circles that have like products launching in that quarter, for example. And like we might have goals around the things that we want to spearhead to help that product launch be a success.
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning it, because we are supporting all these different teams. It'd be really nice if our quarterly goals were aligned. So if the next quarter is July through September for all teams, then maybe at the end of the quarter / beginning of the next in the community call, we can say, oh, these were our quarterly goals. This is how we did. And these are our goals for the next quarter, all on the same day.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to Monic and see like when they're going to have their goals determined for, you know, for Giveth Trace and for Giveth.io. And, you know, maybe ours are like, maybe we decide what our goals are once theirs have been released, so we can kind of take a look at what their team is prioritizing, or vice versa. Yeah, I wonder.
I'm not sure exactly how it would work, but I was just thinking it would be nice to have our quarters all aligned across Giveth rather than just for each team, you know?
Yeah, I mean, any company that does like quarterly planning, it's always quarter 1 is January, February, March, quarter 2 is April, May, June, quarter 3 is July, August, September. Like it's always the same dates. But
okay.
What I'm understanding from you is like a desire to align the specific goals.
I guess that was kind of my main question, was the dates, because if we're all like on the same quarter and we all have our goals, and then we can kind of like at the end of each quarter all meet up and discuss like have review essentially.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we will all be on the same. Okay, any other questions or comments?
I think it's a good idea. I'm like, let's see how that goes. I feel like Com seems like one of the most organized teams, but mostly just because we have really good teamwork. But if we have a little more structure around it, it might be beneficial. Yeah, I'm just open. I'm down for us. Thanks for taking initiative on that.
Cool, no worries. Okay, wiki to docs migration. So cool. I see Ashley done. Discord guide done, except maybe one thing. Is there anything that you want to share about the Discord guide, Ashley, or any support you need in reviewing that?
There was just one like describing the unicorn role in our Discord. Like I talked to Kai a little bit and I talked to Danny a little bit, and so I kind of have a better understanding and like how that role can be achieved. But that's like the one thing that I can't really like define. It was around before I got here, so I'm not really sure, because it's not just active people, it's people who have been active in the past but also care about what we're doing, and then like how to describe to them how they can acquire that role within our server.
Oh, you know, I remember when it was created, it was described as the people who regularly attend our calls and contribute.
Right, but there's people that are unicorns that have been in the past that we can't just take that role away from, is what Danny was saying. She's like, because those people still love Giveth and still like want to hear about it, and they're still unicorns. And then I guess the other part is like, are we still going to do the unicorn thing?
I think, I don't know. It seems like, regarding the unicorn thing, I don't know. It seems like most people still like it. There was only Mitch who doesn't like it officially, and then Mateo who was like, I don't really like it. But I don't know. I don't think that changing the name is so important right now, but I think that maybe for the Discord, you could just really specify like how to maybe achieve that goal. It's like become an active contributor, attend a lot of calls, and start like showing your passion for Giveth. And you don't necessarily have to describe losing the role. Do you know? It's like kind of almost like once a unicorn, always a unicorn.
I don't know.
Right.
Like Griff just said, I don't know from the other room, but like,
Offboarding.
what?
Offboarding is so important.
Well, he's saying offboarding is important, but I just don't know if it's like very necessary to include like in the channel descriptions for Discord.
Right.
He agrees.
It's like he's like, I need to stop that.
It's like Griff is a part of my conscience.
Backseat driver, man. We just shut up. Let us do our meeting.
What does he say to that?
He doesn't hear you guys. He only hears me.
Tell him I
With
said
their
that.
headphones in. Mitch says stop backseat driving and let us do our meeting. Chris says he's coming to the meeting once you put clothes on.
But me. Fun. Okay, well, I think we can like flag the unicorn discussion as something to get to eventually, but it's not like the most imperative thing. But for now, yeah, I like what Lauren mentioned about to include as it pertains to the unicorn role, like how to become one, and then we can worry about offboarding later.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work,
Right.
Ashley?
Yeah, that makes sense. And since I wrote that note in there, I kind of have gained a bit more clarity. So
Okay, cool. Awesome. And then around Wiki to Docs migration, a week ago, we had said like it would be an awesome goal if we could complete this in a week. I know I can speak for myself. I have done a lot of editing of other people's, and I've been also incorporating the edits that other folks have put on my HackMD documents. And then I'm still in the process of editing the ones that were assigned to me last week. Like, I think I'm still working on, I haven't completed yet the contributor's guide and the governance of meetings. So I might be a blocker on that. Do you guys have an update? Mitch, you worked on the advice process and conflict resolutions, which I know I was editing. So I think that that's in a pretty good
I mean, like I haven't touched the conflict resolution because we still haven't figured out what we want to do. Advice process is done. Everyone gave some feedback. I finished the edits, but I don't feel like I have the experience and the authority to decide what the conflict resolution should be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm willing to assist writing it, but I think deciding what it should be a collective or maybe somebody who has more experience making these processes.
Why don't we have a hack session? Like I think Wonka suggested in the GitHub. Like we could kind of go through like what's there. I mean, I read the Gravity stuff. Like we were talking about just using most of what's from Gravity and then just like modifying slightly if there's something that doesn't exactly pertain to Giveth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
go ahead.
That discussion should be like open to the people to say like if they feel comfortable with what we already have, and then like continue developing on it, or if it would be better to start with gravity, like uh, from fresh. And I think I would like to talk about this with grief, because I think that Lowy was the original author of that conflict management system, and maybe it would be good to know, like, if she would be willing to collaborate on updating this, or like, if we are going to have to decide on our own, because, like, yeah, I don't want to take the decisions of work that has been done by other one. Hey,
Mhm.
Chris.
I can
Yeah.
say right away, it'd be better if people that are on the team right now and active are the ones that are involved in writing the documentation. I know like Forrest and Ashley expressed interest in the Graviton training, and so I think it would make sense for somewhere between this mix of people in this room to be the ones writing it.
I think it could be beneficial to have at least her input as far as like what they used before and what did work and what didn't work, and at least be able to learn from that instead of just trying to start our own process. Like we can learn from what they've learned, what they've done in the past.
Yeah, and I think that what was done is really good, and that it's up to Giveth. Like, if you want to, yeah, have the approach of restorative justice or the approach of mediation, which are two types of alternative dispute resolution. So I don't think that there's like much of a conflict there, because it are the same like concepts. It's just maybe yeah, different methodologies, but they like look for the same. um yeah, so it would be good to have this discussion on if we want to continue with restorative justice, or if we want to use the mediation approach, because, like, what we can do if you want to continue with the restorative justice approach is that we can include like a module of restorative justice in the Graviton training, so that the Graviton training fits also the mechanism and the methodology that is in place in Giveth.
I will say that we did not have very much luck with restorative justice approaches. I'm just going to throw that out there. Our conflict resolution failed several times. So there's a reason we started Gravity from scratch. So I'll go with.
Okay, yeah, but for me, it's good to ask, to know what is intended, and yeah, to know like what are the expectations. So yeah, I think then if what we want is to like adapt Gravity, then yeah, it wouldn't be more like of a like improving what we have, but like taking what we can bring from the model of Gravity that we have designed in the TEC to apply in Giveth.
I think that's the best idea. I think we should just like fork Gravity, minorly adjust it, and then also use it at Giveth. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
there's-
want to have that certainty.
I think it's a great idea, of course, to loop Lorelei in the mix. Advice process is always nice. That being said, this is what I hope that we Juan and the Gravitons can do, is like be like, oh, you need a conflict resolution module in your community? Well, here you go. Oh, you just change Control F, this like insert community here, and replace with your name, and then read the thing, right? And make any edits that you want, and boom, you come to Graviton training. Here's the time. Like, this is the dream. Like, it's like a cultural module least this is. I mean, I don't know if it's Juan's dream. This is my dream for it. Is like this like modular like conflict resolution solution that of course needs to be configured for your community, but is there. So if we could test drive that with Giveth, that would be pretty cool.
Okay. Then I will start thinking within that scope.
Can we, I'm still open to writing this. I don't want to dump this on somebody else, but I know Forrest seemed very interested in getting involved in that process. And maybe you and I can work on doing this documentation, and then we can see about implementing Gravity and what that looks like.
That sounds good. Do you feel like we need to actually go through the process of adapting and implementing Gravity in order to write this document? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But I would like extra input,
Yeah, totally. I'm happy to help write it when we have some deeper understanding around Gravity to be able to write it.
Okay.
But yeah, that sounds awesome. I would love to be involved. And I'm curious, does it feel like we need to have a next step of talking about this on the governance call on Monday, and from there, scheduling a hack session with Wonka and whoever from the Giveth team is interested in participating? Or Wonka is the next step for you to send us copied version of whatever documents that you have, and then our team takes that and goes through a process of seeing where we need to make adaptations for Giveth? What do you propose is the best next step?
I am willing and available to collaborate. So whenever you want to have a hack session, just ping me, and I am here. Yeah. And there are a lot of other contributors. Also, you can join one of the Gravity working group calls that we have on Thursdays, so that you see more or less what is the daily workload and daily processes that we have.
Okay. And for the hack session, what do you propose the intention of our first hack session call being, just so that I can communicate that with the team? And would it be something that you'd be facilitating?
Yeah, I think I can facilitate it. But I think that the intention is to, well, my first question was that about what we were going to do with what was in place, and what we had from the past. But I think we have already talked about this. But also I want to know what are the needs, what are the expectations. Yeah, maybe sharing a little bit what does people know about Gravity, and maybe contextualize a little bit what we are doing to solve questions. And yeah, I don't think it should be too much work. I think if we agree, I think that in one or two calls we can start thinking on the step of how to merge our proposal with this community.
Okay.
And maybe
awesome.
maybe the TEC Git book would be decent to review. I'll put it in. There's some Gravity spots. I don't know if there's any specific spots that you would call out where we talk about what the dispute resolution solutions are for TEC. But I'll share some links in one of our Giveth channels. Let's see. Maybe what's the best one?
You can put it in comms.
Okay.
Yeah, I can help in that too. I have like them all, and sometimes I feel like there's a lot of links, and it would be really nice to have like um, more synthesized the information. But yeah, we're trying to move each step at a time.
Well, I will say that Gravity is one of my favorite projects. Honestly, that's going on right now. It's so cool, And if Giveth could help us standardize the Gravity process and be like, okay, this is what we need. Here's one blog post that says how Giveth is using Gravity, and then like here's the links. We took this link and we made this, or even here's our template. Here's us. Here's what we are using. We're taking this, we're taking this, we're taking this. Look at Giveth as a model of, the first, was it like TEC? Giveth is the first follower, right? Of Gravity, and just showing people how to follow in the Gravity footsteps would be pretty amazing.
Okay, yeah.
And take something off Juan's shoulders. He's got the whole weight of the world on his back. It's got all the gravity, man. It's tough.
Sounds heavy.
No, but it's great. I feel that each day I just hope to be able to like make the impact that I want to make with this project, and is to foster collaboration and minimize how conflicts affect organizations, and the like delivering goals, and yeah, that's like the big idea.
Thank you so much, Wonka. I'm excited to go through this process with you. And yeah, I definitely feel passionate and interested in this area. Okay, so that feels good about advice process and conflict resolutions. Lauren, you have worked on the recording meetings guide, which is going to get kind of meshed in with the doc that I'm working on. Tools for DAC. Ashley, do you have an update on that one?
I started a HackMD document and made an issue, but I haven't made much progress on that one. I've been working on the community circle one since I finished Discord guide. I could say I think I should be able to have them both ready for review by our next meeting. Before our next meeting.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Anything else on Wiki to Docs migration? Sounds like we'll still work in progress on some things, and maybe we'll close this out next week. Mitch, were you wondering if you should start loading things to the site?
That's what I'm wondering. Instead of just doing this all at once, if there's anything we feel that's independent enough from the rest that we can start uploading, would be nice.
Yeah, I kind of agree. At least if there's some big sections, not just only one or two.
My suggestion would be, so I won't close the issue, but if you can go into your stuff and add a label that just says ready to upload or something like that, then at least I can go through it and check it off. Does that make any sense, or is that a good idea? I can see Lauren, she's got her mouth open. She's
I think it's a good idea for maybe some of the technical stuff, the things that you wrote for Giveth Trace, I think would be totally fine to upload. But this more sort of qualitative and tangible, we're working on the goals for each circle, is still sort of subject to change until we actually have it all put together. And then, so I think the what is Giveth sections, including all of the intros and the circles, I wouldn't suggest to put those ones up, but as far as the developer docs that you worked on, and just the how to use things, I think that's probably ready to go.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I'm not going to go through the stuff that you guys have done, but based on your own discretion, just add the label there, and then I can see it, and then I'll know that it's okay.
But I just don't think that, like, I mean, even if like one of us thinks like, oh, the section that I worked on for like community goals is done or something, then it might not necessarily still be good to upload, because it's going to be like put in 2 different places, and like how is that going to be like structured, and maybe it like changes a little bit if our MVV changes a little, and I feel like that's the stuff that's still intangible. So I would just like, rather than saying like everybody puts it on their own section, it's like, let's say like technical documentation is like okay to go up, but like the more intangible things, like let's finish all the intangible things. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree with mine too. Yeah. Also, it just makes more work for you to go back and have to edit things in Contentful, and I think every time you publish something, it has to rebuild. And yeah, so I feel you though. I really want to get this whole migration done, and I can see that in all of us that we're like, let's just get it done and over with. But I think it's also useful to like take our time and just, if it's worth doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it does feel good to be able to put like the educational content and the documentation kind of stuff up.
Yeah, it's just like, because then once we have all it ready, then we have to decide how we want to structure it, and it's just like, it's hard to visualize until it's all there, you know?
Yeah. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, okay. All right, then that's it for me.
Okay, awesome. I think we can skip over this. We discussed this in Give Token.
Did you guys happen to talk about folding in Trace and like the release strategy for Trace?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
I think it's on the agenda, but yeah, we haven't talked about it yet.
Can I jump in there with the context and pass it around?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you want to.
I want to. I feel like an intruder in this call. This is not my space. So Trace is ready. Like, you know, it's still, I would say like days since last blocked payment 3. But like we're going for 30, and once we get to 30, then we should be moving beta to Trace, right? Okay. We're also launching tokens and all this shit. We need a comms roadmap or something, and it's impossible. It's so impossible to understand, like, you know, when the best time to release Traces. And it's like, is this a slow news week? Oh, fuck yeah, let's release Trace right away. You know, is it like, hey, here's our token launch. Okay, we're not releasing Trace this week because we're going to, you know, tell everyone about the airdrop they just got. You know, and like, I really think that these release dates should not ever be driven by tech. They should be driven by you guys, and the tech should be ready and tested. And then you guys tell us when to go out, you know? It's like, it's really not on the tech. It's the tech team's job to get it done and get it done well and tested and say we're ready. But then like, what is the ideal? Like we have Trace just sitting there. It's going to be ready. We have gardens. We're kind of talking about that right now, but like shyly, you know, they're not like fully like saying we have a token. You're getting money. Everyone gets Give tokens. You know, like what is the ideal comms roadmap? And maybe we can see if that aligns with how that aligns with the other roadmaps. And like, how would you guys like to see these things be pieced together? I'm just really curious. You know, like what's the best order of operations? And maybe I'll pass it to Michi. See what he thinks is the best idea. Maybe I'll just pass it around.
In terms of making a communications roadmap and getting Trace out.
Yeah, and like and even just first thoughts on what the best order is, you know, like Trace, tokens, givebacks.
I mean, Trace seems like the closest thing to coming to fruition. So, I mean, realistically, it wouldn't take that much work to draft some articles that we can even start writing now and just like put it out with launch. And then who knows with like the airdrop and the givebacks, like it still seems a little bit intangible to me.
Definitely. I completely agree with you, Mitch. I think like Trace is like pretty much ready, and like it's not so terribly complicated. Like with the token comes a lot of extra parts, like comes the gardens and comes the givebacks, and I think it's like bigger and like also more thrilling, and we should do this like upward slope of like excitement. So I think like Trace is almost ready. It would be great if we worked on the communications around like launching Trace and making sure that people understand like what it's for and what it's about, and then it gets like even more exciting because then people get an airdrop and et cetera, et cetera. That's my general feeling. You didn't pass it to me, but I really wanted to speak.
That's good. Yeah.
I'll pass it to Ashley.
I guess first off, yeah, I think Trace goes before the give token because it is kind of like a ramp. And then with the give token and the give backs and everything, Gardens goes along with the give token. So that's kind of like almost at the same time kind of thing, in my opinion. The other thing is like we haven't really clearly defined the roadmaps for each of those individual projects. And so it's really hard for us to form a strategy around what our goals can be in support of those projects because we're not really sure of their goals and their dates. So as we go through these workshops with Marco and really define what the roadmap and what the goals are for each project, it'll give us a clearer vision as a comms team and then be able to create our roadmap around that. And I'll pass it to Forrest.
Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I totally resonate with what Ashley's saying. And I feel like this was a part of my intention with bringing up the quarterly milestone planning at the beginning of this call, which, Griff, I don't think you were on at that point, but I was just proposing that we start, working in quarters and potentially also sprints and getting clear on what our goals are for like each quarter of the year and having like pragmatic targets and then like really having that vision to work towards. And so I think that determining release dates and stuff like that is a part of that. And I think I was proposing that we start on that in our next comm call or have a separate call just for that. But I really agree with Ashley. I think that it's because comms is supporting all of these other circles and projects that it's really important for us to understand and have clarity around like what are their goals and when are the dev teams going to be ready and what are the different blockers and stuff and like who are the targets that these products are launching for. So I think not just having like a 2-minute round of input, but like going a little bit deeper and having more strategy behind why we're making these decisions is really important. But I totally agree with you, Griff, that it should be driven by like strategy and communications rather than just whenever the developers are ready. And I can hear for sure reasons for Giveth Trace being the first to launch, or, I remember in the Give token also you mentioning like, well, do we want to have the givebacks program also for Giveth Trace? So like, is givebacks launching first or is Giveth Trace launching first? So there's different things to talk about, but I think what we all can agree on is that it's important for us to have a roadmap and for us to get more clear and structured around, planning out our goals. But I definitely have a strong desire to understand that from the other teams as well. So I'm going to communicate with Monique and see like how deeply he has these goals like outlined for Giveth Trace and ultimately for Giveth IO. And then obviously we're working on that, you and I and everyone, most people on this call for the Give token. So we'll have clarity there. And definitely participating in these meetings with Willie and with Marco as a full team. I think over these few weeks, we're going to unfold a lot more clarity. So would you guys prefer that I schedule separate comms meetings just specifically to dive into like road mapping and like goal planning and kind of planning out like our content calendar and stuff, or do we want to use our time next Friday and perhaps on Monday for that?
Yeah, I think we can use our Monday hack session for something like our stand-in point that we have for something like that.
Yeah.
Also, something that comes up along this, like one of the agenda points I brought up, and we had kind of done a doodle poll about changing our meeting time so that the devs and like other members that aren't able to join this meeting so late can join us. And I think that that would also help give us clear lines of communication to those teams. And if they have things or questions that they want to bring from their team to the communications team, they have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So we did that doodle.
I don't want to push back directly on that so much, but I do want to say that we might want to be a little cognizant of like meeting overload too, right? Like the way that a lot of teams solve this is having like the Giveth 2 representative to comms, the Giveth trace representative to comms, right? The rep link, and that they're the one, and that there's one person who's on their team but also represents comms to their team, right? And then there's the comms Giveth 2 person who goes to Giveth 2 meetings, and there's like a little bit of organization so that not everyone, so that we don't have to coordinate who's going to go to the comms meeting from Giveth Trace this week, you know? And then we coordinate with that one person and just have the defined circles and really just make sure that the internal comms are happening without saying everyone has to go to every meeting, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to make it at a time where it's not the middle of the night for like Monique, and he could join us if he chose to, or if it was relevant that week. It wouldn't necessarily mean that everybody would have to go to every meeting. And we just have a stand-in session on Mondays where it's like, if we have stuff to work on, then we take advantage of that time slot. But if we don't have anything to discuss, then it's just done.
Yeah, so based on our doodle, the times we had, well, everybody liked Friday at 8 a.m. I mean, 8 a.m. Costa Rica, so it's like 10 a.m. for you, Mitch. And then, but I don't know, then there was like also Wednesday was an option, Wednesday morning, which I talked to Ashley and she prefers kind of earlier in the week and like after the dev call. Mitch didn't really prefer it, and I just like love if we could just like very briefly, because we're at actually the top of the hour, but if we could just kind of like, if anyone has any strong feelings they'd like to voice about like not moving the to earlier or meeting earlier to the week or not, or leaving it or moving it later. Yeah.
I gotta start the meme call. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Griff.
Thank you.
It feels pretty like unanimous from the doodle poll that we shift our Friday afternoon call to the Friday 8 a.m. And are you asking Lauren about shifting Monday afternoon's placeholder to Wednesday morning?
No, I was asking about moving, like, instead of, because we have like people can come to Wednesdays and Friday mornings basically. So I just wanted to hear like any strong opinions, like to not move it to Wednesday, because I think it's kind of nice to have the comms call earlier in the week, because then it's like we have like the week to work on things, rather than it's like I feel like earlier in the week, like there's just like more things to talk about. Now it's like we just like whole end of the week we have to talk about it. There's the weekend, and it kind of is like losing momentum. So I like.
So what was it? The 9 a.m. on Wednesday?
There's 9
Yeah,
a.m.
right after
your time.
I think it would be a good time, like right after the dev call, we're already in meeting mode, just like, you know, get those out of the way, and then the devs, if they want to join, have the opportunity.
Okay.
Because that's when the old call was.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to be there for the sake of unanimity.
I'm okay
Unanimity.
with Friday mornings event. Like if it's like the consensus that everybody likes Friday mornings and that's great, then fine. But this is just
No,
my
I hear
one.
your point about doing it earlier in the week, so it makes sense, and you know we can do it.
Okay, so let's
I
make
can
it
change
Wednesdays at
my-
9.
We could have our main comms meeting, like replacing this one with Wednesday morning, and we could change our Monday placeholder to Friday morning.
Yeah.
I like having the meeting earlier in the day. So if I can do that placeholder Friday morning, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down. So we do Wednesday meetings. Our Wednesday mornings are meeting. Friday mornings are potential hack session if we decide we have one.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it too.
Yeah, I like because then that's like our meetings earlier in the week, and then it's like if there's things that we've needed support on throughout that work during the week, then we have the last day of the week to be like, okay, this, we can kind of all review together and then hack on the things that we didn't get done. Yeah, it sounds so much better.
Totally.
I love it.
So
good.
next week I can keep Monday's placeholder as doing our quarterly planning, like road mapping kind of thing, and then also add a placeholder for Friday morning. Does that work for you guys? And I'll switch this to Wednesday morning for next week.
That sounds fine to me. And we can decide Wednesday if we really want to meet on Friday again or not.
Yeah, we probably will need to, but
yeah, exactly.
It's there. Okay, cool. Nice, decided.
Yay, go team.
We didn't get to everything, but I think like a lot of it was just talking about content updates and then converting Medium blog posts to Giveth docs. Does that feel really burning, Mitch? Does anyone have like a moment?
I mean, it sorry to go over time, but that's on my plate. I took everything and converted it that we've written, up to date, but I haven't touched anything from the old Giveth. And so I don't feel super inclined to do everything, but if there's anything that we feel strongly that we should be hosting on our blogs, on the docs, then link it. Kai said preferably everything, but it's like, I'd like someone else to look at that and decide if they think it's worth it. I don't think so, but yeah.
I know a couple of them that I've looked at and been like, this is helpful and useful, so I'll put them to your attention. But I'm kind of with you. Like, the entire reason of putting them there is like for redundancy. So it's like in the unlikely case scenario in which Medium dies, but probably it won't.
Yeah. So that's it. Just like, if you get time, look at it, throw me, be like, Mitch, add this one, and I can do it, no problem.
Cool. That's a good action. Okay. And
the other thing's really quick too. The outreach thing, it's like I just want to create an autopilot email that would be sent to our project's mailing list and let them know that we added rich text to our project capabilities and invite them to come back and add videos and pictures and like maybe update their projects. So I don't know if that's something that Mitch and I can talk about because he does a lot of autopilot stuff and like I don't want to mess with the journeys that, I don't want to send too many emails, but we can look at that together. And then Lauren was thinking about making a Twitter post regarding the rich text feature and just letting people know that they can now add pictures and videos and stuff to their description.
Yeah. We might have to go overtime here because we didn't talk about this whole changemaker thing either. I don't know if you guys want to push that, but
I'm okay. I don't have to be anywhere else.
Yeah,
okay.
I have time.
Just to decide on it because it'd be super easy just to keep it there, like in the background, and we can just maybe like we don't have to use the hashtag anymore, or we can broaden up like how people can participate so that it gives us a little bit more freedom with how we do our outreach. There was an email that was going out when a project got created on autopilot, but then we were sending 2 emails every time a project got created, and the changemaker one was almost never clicked. Like you can see when people open it and almost nobody was opening it. So my suggestion was that if we could just make one email that gets sent whenever a project is created on autopilot, that's like spicy and interesting and like can create more engagement, I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. And then we can focus our outreach towards just getting people to add their projects. And then as soon as they add their project, they receive an email about, thanks for adding your project. By the way, you can add it to this campaign. And then we don't have to really ask too many steps from people whenever we ask them to join the campaign.
Yeah. And then in terms of sending out an email for all the projects about rich text editor, that's super easy and that will take no time.
Yeah, cool. I just want to make sure I'm not like, because you send out emails to remind projects to update their project, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just didn't want somebody to get, okay, come update your project. Okay, now that you received that email like a week later, come update your project again and add rich text. So I just wanted to check and make sure that we're not just like spamming people.
I mean, unfortunately, we're going to have to spam them once, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be just one big blast saying, hey, rich text editor.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a really great feature. I think it's important. And then just keeping in mind that some of these people running these nonprofit projects are not tech savvy. So yeah, just making it really clear, like some people might not even be familiar with like the term rich text. So just making it really clear, like, hey, that what that means is that you can now put video and photo content and stuff, you know, just
yeah, and links and stuff. And I think also now they can add more characters as well. I think that went along with it too.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. And just going back to the changemaker thing, because I noticed most of the outreach is happening on Twitter. What can we change to make it better for you, Lauren?
Yeah, so I'm glad we're returning to this because I think that it's like kind of become very stale, the presentation, and even just saying like change maker is like almost like meh. And I feel like maybe like rather than calling it what it is and even maybe necessarily like I think it's a good idea to do at least like one more Medium blog post, but I would like to sort of focus our energy for like getting more people, like getting more donors to projects on like highlighting projects that like we see that are like awesome, you know? And so it's like we could include like maybe in this email blast that you're talking about when someone adds their project, we can be like, if you want to like try to gain more exposure, try sharing your story and using hashtag Giveth for change, and then we'll like still see it. But I don't think that like the structure of like change makers, share your story, and then like the kind of tweet thread, it's just we've done it a number of times and it was like fun and more engagement at the beginning. Now it's like really not a lot of engagement. Even like I feel tired about doing it and people are tired about reading it. So it's like, but people care about good projects and we have good projects on Giveth, and I almost feel like it's more worth our time and would be more effective if we go through and we look at the projects that we think are cool, and then maybe we reach out to them a little bit and then we're like, hey, we think your project is really cool, like do you want to say anything like else extra about it? And then we could just like independently kind of like share about projects, like whether or not they like submit their story, we could highlight the ones that we like rather than waiting for like the projects added onto Giveth, and then like Giveth can just like go through, we can be like, this one's cool, let's share about this one, you know?
Hey.
Because even with the changemaker, it's like almost like we're limited. Like there are cool projects on there that are not submitting their story, but it doesn't mean we can't like tweet about them. And something I find to be really successful in Twitter is actually like tweeting about like partners who like maybe wouldn't engage with our changemaker campaign, but I like talked about like One Hive and the gardens, and then like everybody loved it and so many retweets, and it's like because it's like almost just like an offering rather than like a share your story and then we'll do something. Like we just do things, like we just go and give them extra attention. So I would love to make it a little bit more structured in that way. But I love hashtag Giveth for change, and I don't think there's anything we necessarily need to do to like stop using it. But I just it's like, how many more changemaker memes can we tweet? How many more changemaker memes can we even come up with? Like I've gone through them all, and then the new ones, they're just like, you know, I appreciate your effort, Mitch, for putting out more changemaker moves, but the rest of us don't even want to do it. You know? Let's keep things fresh.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't even have to keep using the changemaker thing. Like it can just be an internal thing that we use to reference to whatever our outreach, you know, campaign. And you know, but then like I took your suggestions and then I threw it in the tweet there, and like seeing like just broadening it up like that. And then I think at least reaching out to those projects, like we can send them an email, or if they have another contact thing and being like, hey, can we feature you?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, would you like to be featured? Would you like to be featured? We think you're great, you know?
Yep.
And then they could even just message us like a yes, and then we could like they could add any other information that they really want shared, or we could just like come up with what we see based on their project description and what we know about the project.
Yeah. Well, this is really good because I was like, we just kind of took this idea from August and ran with it. So I was kind of expecting that it was going to evolve over time, and that's what's happening.
Definitely.
Nice.
I like the
Yeah.
initial idea, and it's just like I think time for its next evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, cool. Let's see. Is there anything else we didn't get to? I don't think so. Amazing. Well, 12 minutes over, but we got through a whole heck of a lot. Are there any other closing thoughts or needs before we boot, scoot, and boogie?
I'm okay.
Okay. Cool. Being awesome. Well, thanks, guys. This has been really good. Much love. And Ashley and Lauren, at least I'll see you guys in person tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go
Um,
salsa dancing.
Mitch, we need to do like, have you guys ever heard of Flat Stanley?
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like
Totems.
sometimes little kids in their school, they'll get this like Flat Stanley homework thing where like you print a picture of Stanley and you put it on like a popsicle stick, and then when your family does cool like vacation stuff, you bring it. We need to make like a Mitch face.
Flat
Bring him with
Mitch.
us.
Well, you know, this whole moving out thing is like really so I can come there,
Yay.
you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mitch.
Miss you so much, Mitchie.
Oh my
Griff
God.
has been using your cup like almost like very intentionally.
I think it's super intentionally.
So he's like, I'm gonna use Mitchie's cup. I'm gonna use it for my tea. I'm gonna brush my teeth with it. Like,
He's gonna brush his teeth with my cup? What?
no, for his gargle, you know.
Oh, gross, man. Okay. TMI.
It's Griff's cup now.
Oh.
So you think you'll be here in like a month then, Mitch? When you move
No,
out?
like we're still shooting for like in the fall.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's approaching.
I usually spend the summer with seeing my family and stuff out here. So, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the rainy season there, no?
Yeah, but
It's
it's not
like
bad.
beautiful.
Super beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
know
great.
that, but like the proportion of rain to sun.
Yeah.
It rains.
The rain, the heaviest part is like September, October, November.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I would be shooting for like, if that were the case, then December, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, we can have
Anyway,
Christmas
don't
time
say that.
again. I'll make you
I
have
meant
time
right
for
now.
Christmas Eve if you come for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be almost like a full year since I came the first time. So,
Wow.
Wow,
You
and
know.
so much would have changed, you guys.
hmm
Mitch, I don't
Yeah.
know if you know this, but I am pregnant and we'll have maybe a little one when you come here.
What? No way,
Mhm.
Forrest.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.